What happened to the Sith Lightsaber collection of General Grievous? Greetings, students of the Force, and welcome back to the archives. Today we bring you something quite special. While we do not typically cover Star Wars Infinity's content on the channel, we did unearth a story that is definitely worth hearing about. Today's story of Star Wars Infinities will be following General Grievous. A story from a novel called Star Wars Manga Silver shows him tracking down a dark Jedi, one who apparently stole his collection of not Jedi, but Sith lightsabers. In today's holocron, we will be exploring the other, lesser-known collection of lightsabers that belong to General Grievous, and how this foreshadowed his devotion to the Sith. The exact timeline of this story is extremely difficult to place, as Grievous doesn't really resemble the version of him that we're more familiar with. Rather than being in his full droid body, this comic Grievous opts to lean far more into the organic side of being a cyborg, with Grievous having a nearly full-flesh body, augmented by a cybernetic head, limbs, and a chest plate. But given the context clues, it seems to take place prior to the events of the Clone Wars, immediately after Grievous was reconstructed as a cyborg, and after his ship was sabotaged by Dooku, resulting in grave injuries. Injuries that would force him to turn to the Sith for help and vengeance. This story is compelling, as this is almost like Darth Vader's first mission, but instead, we get the first mission of General Grievous, now fully transformed into a cybernetic monstrosity, taking place far before he would reveal himself to the wider galaxy after Attack of the Clones. Our holocron reading today begins with Grievous furiously tracking down a Dark Jedi who worked for him, as the Dark Jedi has escaped his grasp and taken something very valuable from Grievous, a collection of Sith lightsabers. Unfortunately, there is no information on the lightsabers themselves or where the lightsabers came from, just that Grievous somehow has them and has been fascinated by them. We'll get back to the lightsabers in just a moment though, but in a rage, Grievous managed to track down the thief to the world of Deka, a planet filled with pools of boiling acid. Grievous's Magna Guard offers to come with him in order to help, but the droid general refuses, stating that he will have no problem killing a single rogue Jedi. Jumping in his ship, Grievous wastes no time racing to the world of Deka in order to reclaim his horrific collection, one started far before he began collecting the lightsabers of Jedi. Upon arriving on the world, Grievous immediately spots his quarry, a young woman in black robes, pale skin, and black face paint trailing down her eyes. The Dark Jedi's hair is in 2 long braids, and she greets Grievous by igniting 2 red blades, Sith sabers that she has stolen from his collection. Grievous taunts her by saying that she reeks of the Jedi despite being a renegade, and the cyborg orders her to state her name before she dies. The woman says her name is Ka, but another voice from behind her says a different name. A twin sister appears out from behind the renegade, stating that her name is Lee. She too ignites 2 Sith lightsabers and takes her positioning back to back with her sister to challenge the droid general. Grievous is now faced with 2 Dark Jedi. Grievous ignites his own single lightsaber and leaps into action, and with that, the duel begins. But something is immediately wrong with this fight. Firstly, Grievous is able to just grab lightsaber blades and hold them in place. He does this to Ka's lightsaber, keeping her from being able to strike. Yet, the Dark Jedi twins are incredibly fast, and Lee dashes behind Grievous, preparing to cut him in half. But Grievous seems as though he has the skills of Legends continuity, and is far faster than he is in Legends, whipping around and blocking her strike effortlessly, with the droid telling her that she knows nothing of lightsaber combat, and is anything but a skilled duelist. With the flank attempt of the 2 Dark Jedi now a complete failure, Grievous suddenly jumps out of sight. The twins are unable to find him for a moment, as he is clinging to the underside of a cliff, and is now using fear to his advantage. In an ambush attempt, Grievous jumps out from his hiding place, and in a single powerful blow, disarms both of the twins simultaneously. However, the lightsabers that they were grasping go flying and land in a nearby lake of acid. This destroys Grievous's entire Sith lightsaber collection right then and there. As the girls begin to escape, Grievous shouts at them, proclaiming that it takes far more than a Sith lightsaber to be an actual Dark Lord. Grievous angrily storms away, deciding that he would have to rebuild his collection from scratch with those of the Jedi instead. And with that, our brief story ends. Before we dive into the lore, we'll give our brief review of the story. Being an Infinites comic, it's important to expect a lot of inconsistencies in the lore, and this is no excuse. Clearly, it's absolute nonsense that Grievous is organic as he is here, and he should not be able to grab lightsabers with his hands, since he can't use the Force or apply difficult abilities such as Terminus. We can give Grievous the benefit of the doubt and say that his hands and arms could have been made of Beskar or some similar form of lightsaber resistant material. This isn't as much of a stretch when you think about it. What is a stretch though is the rest of Grievous's body, but again, this is a different timeline. Personally speaking, I really like the concept of this story, and I only wish that it was a bit longer. This is a story titled Dark Jedi, put in with a large collection of other stories in the manga Silver, but it definitely deserves to have a whole book to itself. Fleshing out the duel more could have been really interesting, as the Dark Jedi twins seemed fast enough to be formidable, but they just didn't measure up to the might of General Grievous. But enough of our review, let's talk about the Sith Lightsaber collection itself. Based on what the manga has showed, there are 4 Sith lightsabers in Grievous's collection. At first, we weren't sure if it was 5 since Grievous wielded a saber of his own here, but the manga makes it very clear that his entire collection was stolen by the Dark Jedi, and that all of them were eventually destroyed. And with those, there were 4 Sith lightsabers. Apparently the comic takes place before Grievous had his Jedi collection, and it is made very clear that he only starts collecting Jedi lightsabers now that all of his Sith weapons were destroyed. With that said, this makes it very difficult to pin down exactly which lightsaber Grievous is using here, as it is made clear it is not a Sith blade. If I had to guess, I would say that General Grievous is wielding the lightsaber of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, as this was the first Jedi lightsaber ever in Grievous's collection, and was a personal gift from Count Dooku. But how Grievous actually got his hands on Sith lightsabers is another matter entirely. It is extremely unlikely that Grievous actually killed any Sith for their lightsabers, the first and most important being that he actually admires the Sith a great deal, and in the comic, Grievous pays them a compliment by telling the Dark Jedi that having a Sith weapon does not make them a Sith. So this collection was fundamentally different to him than his Jedi collection was. This Sith collection seemed to be sabers that he acquired in order to admire their craftsmanship rather than treat them as direct trophies. The second reason is that this wouldn't be possible for Grievous to have collected these many lightsabers during the Sith rule of 2. Then again though, this is a non-canon comic, so in the Infinites universe, there may have been a lot more Sith around during this time period that we don't know about that Grievous hunted down. But again, that is a huge stretch. And third, while this is debatable, we believe that it would actually be virtually impossible for Grievous to kill a Sith since they don't fall into trappings of fear like the Jedi do. They are essentially immune to Grievous's greatest weapon. But again, that is a discussion for a different type of video. The point being made is that these lightsabers were acquired through traders and collectors, or gifts from either Dooku or Sidious, but there's very little chance that Grievous got them by killing Sith. It's virtually impossible. What I do find extremely interesting though, is that from what we understand here, Grievous was only interested in collecting Sith lightsabers at first, but would only switch to Jedi lightsabers once his original collection was destroyed. Grievous admired the Sith so much, he decided to follow in their footsteps and rebuild his collection through domination and death, paying homage not only to his own collection, but to the Sith themselves. But anyway, my friends, this was the story of General Grievous's Sith lightsaber collection. Tell us, do you wish that this story was actually canon? With some adjustments of course, such as Grievous's design, and the entire grabbing lightsaber blades thing aside. But why do you think Grievous had a secret collection of Sith lightsabers? Star Wars Manga Silver and Manga Black are 2 Infinite comics which are extremely rare and difficult to find, so we definitely had a fun time searching for these pages of these esoteric stories from the Star Wars universe. So if you enjoyed us documenting these rarer Star Wars stories, it would help us out a great deal if you could leave a like and comment if you would like to see more from Manga Silver and Manga Black. As always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting the channel and the archives today, and may the Force be with you.